Good morning, friends of the internet. We are back again with a beautiful sunrise happening here on our Farming Sim 15. So, kind of catch us up to speed. As you can tell by our dollar amount, we got 223,000 in the bank. What I went ahead and I did is I harvested all of our silage that we had in those two bins there, and was able to buy one piece of equipment and still have 223 left over. Now, we still have a loan that we can get for 200,000. So, we actually have some fairly decent amount of resources, but I went ahead and I cycled the days, got our crops ready, got everything fermented, and I've already made two trips with this bad boy here and two trailer loads in each one. I made that twice, which puts us at 21% filled. So we're at 21% filled with silage, which is a fair amount. But before I got too far, I went ahead and filled this up again. So let's go ahead. First things first, we're going to dump this bad boy off. And then we're going to go take a look at some things. Let's switch this to our trailer so we can empty this bad boy. So first things first, we're going to unload this. I don't remember what this gives us. About 11 a piece. So I mean that's going to put us about 32,000 or 32% in here filled up, I think. So let's go ahead and dump it out and see what we get here. Whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop. Let's start that over again. Let's get this one going. And we back in. And get this one going. There we go. All right, so we're going to speed up, kind of spread this front one out a little bit because we were a little bit behind. So yeah, that's putting us at about 28%. So a little less than what I thought. So that puts us at 28% filled up in here. It's going to net us a pretty good amount of stuff, of money. So first things first, let's jump out of this because this is hard to do with trailers. Much easier to do with this. God, I still got a little tickle in my throat from my cough. Seems like once I talk a little too much throughout the day, I can get that tickle going again, just enough to aggravate my throat. So the easiest thing I found is just to jump into this because I can run back and forth on it. It's fairly well weighted, and we can get this bad boy compressed down and get it covered. And that way we don't have to really concern ourselves. Or now that I think about this, we could compress this down. We could. But we do have, I was going to say, we have all those crops that we need to start cutting. And once we start cutting those crops, we'll have some more silage. I was thinking we could put it in here, but the more I think about it, I think we should probably just compact this. So let's blanket this. I think what we'll do is we'll let this start fermenting, and then we can go do everything else that we need to do. And then the rest of the silage we'll throw in that first bin when we get it all done. Let me back this bad boy up over here. There we go. All right, so what do we need to be in here? Oh, we need to be here. So, surprise, surprise. Oh, yeah, boy. We got our tractor. Look at that. That's sexy. Look at those tracks on those tires. Man, that's just a sexy piece of equipment right there. So we got ourselves a way to do wood now. But what I want to do, since we do have these crops are all ready to go, let's get this bad boy cutting. Let's get him doing his thing. We're going to get him up here. We're going to hire a worker, and then we're going to go cut some trees. But we can at least get this guy going here. Let's get him up here and say, do your thing there, son. All right. So let's grab our new piece of equipment. Oh, excuse me. Damn energy drink coming back at me. All right. The good thing about this is this thing's pretty durable. We don't care about driving out no fancy way. We'll just drive right off the curb, just like that. All right, this is awesome. There's the inside view of it. Oh yeah, boy, it looks pretty sexy. And then this just operates like this. There's our steering. Then we can actually turn it, as you can tell by the steering of it. There we go. Up, down. There's a bunch of controls to it, but we really don't have to worry about doing too much because we're not going to be limbing any trees with this. I'm going to show you how we're going to operate this thing. It makes it very simple. I want to say that probably, whoa, what kind of view is that? Oh, I didn't know you could do that view. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know you could go to that little head view like that. That's way interesting. Well, I don't have to worry about that anyways. Oh, we need to be going way over here. See our trees off in the distance there calling our name. They're saying, come chop us down. So, this is probably one of the craziest, glitchiest things within Farming Sim is the wood cutting. Wood cutting just seems to be just terrible. So I like to just try to keep this thing nice and centered. I like to keep everything going, because when you try to like this machine here is not glitchy at all. This machine does what it needs to do. It grabs it, cuts it, strips it, cuts it to length, throws it on the ground. It's great. Works out awesome. But if you have to pick up logs and put them in trailers and everything, if you don't have a big stack of wood, I think it's just way too glitchy. Like wood chips, like trying to pick up wood chips, you got to be in the tractor, you got to pick up the thing, you got to get the log in there. It's just one of the glitchiest things within Farming Sim is the timber side of it. Um, I've tried every aspect of it. I've tried to cut logs, pick up logs, put them on trailers, everything, and it's terrible. The easiest way I found was this, because it's simple for me to handle the logs. It's close for me to handle the logs. I don't have to deal with loading, unloading. I don't have to have multiple pieces of equipment. It's just so easy to have this thing. So we're going to show you how we do a little bit of logging in my way here. I'm going to get down here someplace where I'm kind of disappointed because some of these other trees are not kind of grown, these front ones here. But we should be able to get some of these other trees. So I'll show you what I'll do. Oh, we'll start down here at the end. This is nice and easy for us. So first things first, I like to try to lower the head down as much as I can so it hits the ground, lift it up just a little bit so that it's right there. So it's maybe dragging the ground a little bit, but it's going to cut them off as low as possible. Now, what you do is just kind of line this bad boy up. As you can tell, I'm kind of sticking, my arm, my straight up and down arm, is actually sticking out a little bit. So it's not like back here. So I'm bumping into the tree. So it's out here a little bit, which makes it simple because I can get right up to the base of the tree. Basically what I want to do is, let me line this back up straight. So basically what I try to do is I try to just line the boom up right there so it's nice and straight. Then I kind of go to this view, hit this button here, and then you'll see once we're close, oh, never mind. Hold on. Let me back up here. I gotta turn this bad boy on. I forgot. So once I get close to the tree, you can see it says cut. Okay, and it's right there. So as long as you're pretty well straight with the tree, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna back up here because I don't want to. I want to do it this way. I want to keep this as straight as possible. So you just basically hold down that, pull up there, so you get scared up, grab it, and then I back up really quick, and then I drag it right over here. We don't have to strip it. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to limit nothing. We don't have to cut it to any kind of length. Boom. We just made $5 grand almost. So you can see how simple this is. This is the easiest way to do this. And then we just come back, cut down our stumps, and redo it. So I just kind of line this bad boy up here, hold this down, get it close, boom, grab that log, drag it out. We can cut timber so fast, just skidding this stuff right into there. So that was the whole idea of having everything planted this way so that we could do this. Because you can tell if I'm not moving the head around too much, I just use the articulation of the body of the tractor. It makes it very simple for me to just have it straight. So I can line this bad boy up, hold this down, hit the log, boom, done. So we can cut some timber pretty fast this way. This is like the most efficient way that I have found right here. Now, there's another map that actually has a water area that you have to drop it into. Now, I'd find that that would probably be more difficult to deal with than what this is, because this way gives me the opportunity to just drag it into a nice little zoned off area. And you can see, I mean, we're doing this quick. Like you can see, there's no effort, there's no frustration. I'm telling you, if you try to load logs into a trailer and then you have to come over and bring the trailer, then you got to have a piece of equipment to unload it. It's a pain in the ass. But this, look how simple this is. I can just zip down the logs all day long. That's why I always thought it would be cool to take that big field right there and just plant the hell out of it with trees and just make it a big old timber field. But then you'd be dragging trees from way up onto the hill all the way down here to this area. That's why I find this little area right here that that we can utilize to to harvest some trees. Oop, I must have caught that stump. Yeah, I did. Nope. And see, this is what I was wondering if I was going to have a issue with this happening. Um, there we go. I was just hitting that other stump. So getting a little too close with the trees, you can see this is the first time I planted them this close. I just wanted to see if we could get away with it. But you can see it could potentially cause us a little bit of a headache. But I ain't too concerned. We're logging, boys. We got our shiny piece of equipment and we are logging. We'll just keep grabbing these logs. You can see I cut that one a little high on the stump because my head's a little high on my tractor here. So I should lower that down a little bit. Less work that we have to do with our other grinder. There we go. So you can see this just makes logging simple. I mean, this is the way logging should have been in this game. Just simple as simple could be. Look at that. We fell how many trees so far? I don't even know. 10? 12? But it makes it nice because you can plant on this little plot of ground right here instead of even having to, you don't even have to buy any property. You just spend that $40 for those pallets, plant some trees, and boom, baby. You're done. Slide this bad boy up here. I'm kind of hung up on this other. There we go. There, I was kind of hung up on that other one. So it kind of gets hung up on the other stump. So it's the only thing I can see being a problem. But other than that, easy 4,900 per tree. Look at that. Bam. On to the next. I mean, it doesn't pay off quite as much as silage does. But, I mean, you can see how fast we can cut timber, too. Well, I cut that stump way high. And being this close, we just bam, back and forth. I mean, we can pick up lumber like quickly here. And now you know why I was prepping so much on the trees, trying to make sure that they were loaded up and ready to go. Because once we start logging, we can chop this stuff down fairly fast. And then see, we're driving through the little saplings right now because they're still little saplings. If they were large, we wouldn't be able to do this because we wouldn't be able to get to that. We're still having to kind of go around these smaller trees that we have here to get to the ones that are a little more mature. That's why I wanted to make sure that I had a fair amount of trees done up so that we could spend a session doing this, an episode of just nothing but logging. Now, the bad part is the difference between this and silage is two things, okay? With silage, when we get a bucket of silage, okay, we go over, we dump it in the bin, we get paid 10 grand, Okay, we're getting half of that with these trees. But the problem that we face is that it takes about 3 days, 3 to 4 days for a tree to start growing, a sapling. So you got to plan ahead to get those done. And then the other problem that we face is not only do we have to deal with waiting for the saplings to fall or the saplings to grow, but just because we've cut this tree down like that, got paid, and we're not done. We got to come back with that stump grinder and grind down all of these freaking stumps. And we're not getting paid nothing to do it. It's just time consuming, and it is what it is. Oh, that ain't the tree. There we go. I had cut down a little high to get around the stump. But if you need some extra cash and you want to change up your game, you can. It's profitable, but it's not a huge profit. It's just kind of fun to get into this thing. I mean, look at it. I mean, just look at that thing. It's just a goddamn sexy piece of equipment. So I mean, it's just fun to play around with. And driving it, I mean, it's nimble. It gets around. Um, you know, it gets around places. It. Whoop! I missed that tree. Why am I missing this tree? There we go. And you can do other stuff with it. You can rotate the head, you can strip all the bark off, but I basically just use it as a skidder. I mean, there's no sense of going through the extra effort to try to figure out the dimensions, cut the length, all that crap. No, man. Just drive up here, grab this thing, drag it over there. I'm done. Done. Look at that. Boom. Just sexy, simple, easy. Best logging there is. Now, if you don't believe me and you want to try the logging out for yourself in another way, by all means do it. By all means, go spend the money on a chipper and a trailer and a loader and all the stuff it takes to cut and strip these trees down and get into the whole logging thing. By all means, give it a shot. But I have always been about efficiency in my real life and in game. And this is the most efficient way that I found. But by all means, go out there and try out the logging aspect of it. I think there is another pack that has a bobcat, which I thought would be fun to get because the bobcat it's got a different head for grinding stumps that I think would be a little quicker than the head that's in game now. Not to say that the one in game is not bad, but I think being a bobcat, being a little bit more nimble to be able to be such a small tractor and be able to spin around in a tight circle um, with the grinder head on it would be ideal, I think. Especially since we're so close with heads right now, or so close with the stumps. But you can see it. I mean, this is a no-brainer. We can just sit here and just have fun cutting logs. Looks like the price of our logs are going down a little bit here of our lumber. But we could just sit here and just like cut away, man. Whoops. What did it cut right there? There we go. So you can see it's simple. It's so simple. Just the most simplest thing in the world. So by all means, like I said, try out the rest of the farming stuff. Let's look at it really quick. Um, logging. There we go. Okay, so basically we already own this, which is just a stump grinder. Okay, and we own this. This is for planting. I think I ended up buying this trailer at one time, and I used the Scorpion that we have now to cut logs. I basically held it up, and it stripped the logs, and they fell onto the trailer. But what I found was sometimes they'd shoot out those little side forks and then fall onto the ground. So then I needed a way to pick them up. Um, this little system, you can pick up logs, but you still need to cut them and get them on the ground. And you can pick this up behind a little tractor. I've used this. It's a pain in the ass to have to load logs into anything. Um, This thing is even more difficult. This chip grinder, I thought, oh, I'm gonna get some chips. I'm gonna get some logs. I'm gonna chip it all up. You got to unfold this thing. You got to have it connected to a tractor, but you cannot. You're trying to operate this arm on the back from the tractor that you're in, and so your logs have to be right up on this thing, and then to get them in there is a pain in the ass. And then you got to have another tractor that's parked close so that you can shoot the chips into the wagon. Total pain in the ass. This thing should just be obsolete. This same thing. You're spending $221,000 to do what? Have a piece of equipment that will pick up a log and put it on a trailer? I can't justify it when I can spend 317,000, buy this thing, drag a log 20 feet and get paid 4 grand. Makes total sense to me. This, I can't drag a log over. I got to load it up. But to do that, I need to cut it. So either I need this piece of equipment to strip it and cut it, or I got to manually use my chainsaw to strip it and cut it. And then I got to drive this thing to the log where it's laying, because I can't, with this, I could bring it to this and strip it and throw it on the trailer. But why would you do that? Because this is self-loading. You can't bring a log for with this thing to this and push it in there, because you got to be on the tractor that's connected to. So that doesn't work. Then this, you still got to have a way to either manually cut it and strip all the logs and then cut them and then drive this to it the same way as that. So by the time you spend all this money, guys, I'm telling you, this right here is the simplest way. I've tried it all. I've tried every feasible way to do that, and look how easy this is. Cut it, slide it, done. Money in the bank. Look at that. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. So that's why I like playing this map, because it has this little area to transfer logs. Because even if I get logs loaded, guess what? When I get them here, I still got to unload them. So I still got to physically load them, unload them. Why, dude? Why? This is way simpler, as you can see. I just bust out logs all freaking day like this. That's why I've considered planting more of this field that's behind it. It's such a large field, though. But you can see, I mean, we've made quite a bit of money here. And, like, let's look at this. How many in this session alone? God, we got to, speaking of session, we got to end this. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 logs in that short amount of time at about 4,000 a piece. So you can see how this piece of equipment works. But like I said, by all means, guys, if you feel the need that you have to go on and try to do all the different pieces of equipment, by all means, knock yourself out, give it a shot. I'm telling you, this right here is going to be your best bet. This thing is just, it works. It works just by itself. That's all you need. If you want to do logs, that is all you need, and a place to dump it like this. I imagine you could probably do it on the other map where there's water, but you're going to spend a little time swinging the arm and probably have to drop and drag and slide it down into the water. But this way is the easiest one. That's why, like I said, I like to play this map. But if you guys enjoyed this logging episode, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow us on Twitter. That way you know when we're posting new YouTube content and we're live streaming. And if you're new to those channels, go ahead and smash them follow buttons. Come hang out, be part of the audience. And until next time, guys, thanks for all the support on the channel and the series. And we will see your faces another day here on Farming Sim 15.